Greetings, one and all. Welcome back to The Hole in the World, an actual play set in the Invisible Sun RPG by Monty Cook Games. I am, as always, your great Zamino, otherwise known as Zach, who uses he, him pronouns. I am your GM/producer, and I am joined not by all of the cast this week. We're doing something a little bit special. We're doing a development mode side scene, the first one that we're going to broadcast on Sunday. So this is coming to you from the past and yet in the present. And for this particular episode, I'm very excited once again to have my lovely cast member back. Marcy, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
It's just me tonight. I'm Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, and that's the name you can find me most places around the internet. I'm a writer and editor by day, and in the evening, I like to play crazy characters with crazy people, but right now it's just me and Zach. So I don't know if that's more or less crazy. We'll find out.
I'll be honest, it's going to probably get a little crazy. We'll see.
It's gonna get weird. Let's get weird with it. I love it. Anyway, for those not in the know, typically on every other Sunday, I play Gavriel Kazan, the ardent iconoclastic apostate who hosts a choir.
Excellent. And guys, just so you guys know, this, with regard to the continuity of this episode, right now, the main story taking place is that our Vizsla are currently about to enter the Melitius Manor in the Gold Sun, where they can finally try to kind of investigate some strange occurrences that had to do with the Elderbrin race that was living, or kind of like the Elderbrin society, I should say, that was living off of the banks of the Sea of Dolor. However, we're going to actually do a flash forward for this scene. Basically, this is making a lot of assumptions that everybody survives
that we don't die
to get to this point. Or maybe if you do die, or if you do find yourselves somewhat indisposed, you have somehow been brought to complete this bit of business that you have agreed to.
What was that we discovered when we found the other version of Maurice? Like, what it's a
modality.
A modality. Maybe this is a Gav modality.
Yeah, absolutely. This could be absolutely easily be a Gavriel modality. I think this is also I think the other thing is
she's a bad bitch. You can't kill her.
Exactly. I know that for a fact, but I will also say that if like somehow the worst did come to pass, it is a very hard thing to resist the call and the request of a sun warden, especially the one who represents the beginning of all things. So I am going to put on some music, and we are going to paint ourselves a word picture and see where we find Gavriel. Gavriel,
yes.
You find yourself gripping the multiphasic compass in hand. You have in your grasp not only the compass itself, but the adjustments that the miller, Kieran von Melis, has made and allowed it basically kind of to function beyond its normal capacity. Now, normally the multiphasic compass is an artifact that, having been lent to you by Okris and Twig, you have in your possession an artifact that allows you to find the object of your desire to get navigated to that place. And it basically points in many different directions, not only the cardinal directions, but also across the directions of Stannis and Rem, which are very much really more the terrain of Vance's and very kind of more knowledgeable Vizsla. But at the same time, the modifications that Kieran has made to this compass have allowed you to also pick a time in which you have a suspicion may become very useful and very germane to your search. Now, for the audience here, could you recount for me exactly what you are doing as you step out of the indigo sun through this wormhole, this aperture that the multiphasic compass has allowed you to create, and into the world of the gray sun?
Yes. So if anyone recalls, a couple episodes ago for us, but a hiatus for most of our audience, I was tasked by the Silver Sun warden to stop the Avanestus by the River Ramos. Did I pronounce that correctly? Do I get extra credit points?
Yes, you did. You absolutely nailed it. So yeah, this basically, he believed when I say he, I mean the Silver Sun warden, believes that what is kind of transpiring with this entity that he has named is kind of a defilement of a beautiful creative work. And so he has given you the task of hunting this down, this entity, or whatever this kind of mission it pertains to this entity. He has given it to you, and you have found through not only kind of your investigation, through your collaboration with the other Visley, that this actually takes place, wherever this is transpiring, wherever this kind of defilement is transpiring, it is transpiring inside of the gray sun, and not only inside of the gray sun, but near where you came from, in the kind of like the almost kind of like demi-plane kind of time that was created by your will and your consciousness when you exiled yourself to the gray. So, or
my willpower as an infant.
Yeah, I think it was
unmatchable.
Actually, so here's the thing. No, pardon me. I mistake that. It was actually Mott's willpower.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think stepping out of this portal and coming back into the gray, there's a couple things. Mm-hmm. One, there's this biting chill of winter, but the scent of the snow is very familiar. Gav instantly knows she is back somewhere in Russia. She's not anywhere near a city. I think she's somewhere out in a more rural area. Maybe in a forest clearing or by a field, unclear as of yet. Everything is still coming into focus. But the other thing is that as she steps out of this portal from indigo into gray, is her hair goes from those bright, multicolored parrot feathers to a regular, slightly wavy, very, very dark brown that sits just slightly past her shoulders. And the gap in her chest with the halo that's always been present for as long as she's been in the actuality disappears. And she is once again wearing a regular Soviet World War II era uniform that she usually has, but is now in a bit more of an immaculate state than it used to be. Now,
that is what people, if they were to perceive you, would see. But as you kind of step through into this familiar terrain and you feel kind of like that shimmer run over you, as you look down and kind of, I think, in a pane of broken glass, not very far away from, like, just kind of like littered in the dirt, you look down, and in spite of this change and this transition, with the seed of truth spinning in your chest, you see this illusion, this kind of illusory version of yourself, wrapped over you like a thin layer of gauze. It is practically translucent. You can see your true self in this reflection.
Like a bad layer in Photoshop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, describe for me, like, I think, what is the thing that you know that allows you to remember, allows you to know exactly where you are and in what point in time you are?
I'm pretty sure it feels very close to when I left, when I got pulled into the actuality, because it was also winter. I had been, I was being moved to the front with the rest of my troop, and there's something about, I can't be sure because there's no measurement of real time where she's standing right now, but somehow she feels like it maybe has only been maybe a day, if not the same day, since she's been gone.
Yeah.
There's something about this area that feels very familiar, like she has passed through it before, or had been marching through it before, or scouting. She's just trying to get her bearings right now. Russia's a big place, folks. And she's got her rifle on her. She can still feel the seed within her, and the compass, and it feels very strange to be back here, because for so long Gav had wanted to just come back, but so much has changed now, and she feels more confident being here for a different purpose than what she originally thought her return to the Gray would make her. It feels bittersweet.
Absolutely. I think, absolutely. So much has been kind of called into question regarding the reality of this place. While
it almost feels like, I think the best way to describe this is that feeling of maybe, seeing your old nursery toys when you're an adult, finding them in an attic, or buried in your closet, or walking past your old elementary school, something that you had been in when you were very small that taught you everything you needed to know. And now she's kind of seeing it for what it is, that this was sort of a training ground for facing the enemies that she is facing in the actuality.
Absolutely. I think that there is, and the strangest, that sensation only worsens, that feeling of kind of encountering your nursery toys when you start looking around you and you realize that the terrain here, everything about the land, everything about, the wooded kind of surroundings around you, the terrain itself also has a slightly thicker, translucent quality than that of your own appearance, but it is because what you see here is more immediate, like your own body. But looking around you, these terrains, this area, the closer you get to it, the less it passes inspection. It might as well be like Hollywood facades. It's like paper towns and kind of cardboard. As you kind of begin kind of walking the terrain, you just realize that underneath all of these kind of your surroundings, you realize it's almost like kind of things that are swirled and made up of just a more corporeal mist, which is watching it swirl under the kind of that gauze layer, that external facade, is very unsettling. The seed
is literally allowing me to see the Gray for what it actually is.
Exactly.
That's extremely terrifying to think about, that the whole world is just nothingness.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that.
Yeah, no,
that's frightening.
Exactly. And it's even more terrifying when you realize that you are on the outskirts of a settlement. And what is the thing that you hear as you that tips you off to its existence?
Probably the sound of carts. Maybe an occasional motorbike. We're in a very rural area, so there's not a lot of tech of the day in the 1940s out here, but definitely some. I can hear a radio, and I'm gonna start making my way over there cautiously. I can hear the radio playing. It's definitely in Russian, so Gav isn't really too worried about being seen. And she's just gonna make her way over to the sounds that she's hearing. People probably just milling about, going about their day.
Absolutely. And as you're kind of approaching this settlement, it's very familiar to you. I think that maybe on a sortie or two, you, Masha, and Galina may have stopped here. What is this place? Is there a name that that it's attached to, or is this kind of like lost to you, having been in Satyrine so long?
It takes her a minute, I think, to try to put it together. There's so many tiny towns and villages she's passed through that some of them don't even have names. But I think she is reminded that this is Adadrov.
Yeah, Adadrov? Okay.
Adadrov.
Adadrov.
D-R-O-V.
Okay.
Not a real place. I am making this up. Nobody go on Google right now.
It's not allowed.
I'm not that good at my history.
And as you enter Adadrov, now, just to warn you, I pulled a card before we started this scene.
Just hit me with it.
Yeah, this one's pretty intense. It's very good. The card that I drew, if I can find it real quick, is card number 14, the Devil. Yeah. The nemesis of secrets, ravens, books, and flame. Meanings: temptation, lies, charm, persuasion, and words. The nemesis of secrets is the prince of lies, the devil. Of course, there are many devils. Their commonality is their need to corrupt the world around them. Charming, sexy liars that seek to draw mortals into their own evil. Devils don't kill, they talk. They don't destroy, they tempt. The term devil stands apart from demon in that way. A demon is typically a relatively unintelligent engine of violence and destruction. Devils are far more insidious. Now, the divination is for this is the most often a sign of danger, but its interpretation can focus more on the devil's tools than his aims: charm, persuasion, and honeyed words. But beware the insincerity of such things and the lies they conceal. In a more straightforward reading, the card represents the lure of seduction, either literally, sexually, or figuratively in the seduction of evil. Making easy choices can be seductive, but in that way lies real danger. A devil literally gets involved with the narrative. A charming NPC uses their persuasive powers for good or ill. So, and the flavor text for this is: he sits there staring, and while you might wonder, you do not want to know what he's thinking. So, as you approach this place, Adadrov is uncharacteristically quiet. And as you kind of approach closer and closer, you are seeing people that are once again kind of like, I think kind of hiding almost in their homes a little bit, or staying very close to their front doors. And there is a bit of feverish talk in fervent Yiddish that you hear as you are kind of approaching. And I think that the kind of the subject of this is, who could be next? What do you think? Do you think that we honestly have to do this? I do not know, but I don't want to make that happen. There's no way we could allow it. And then a very familiar voice chimes in and says, "Absolutely not. I will not tolerate it." And you realize, I believe it was Masha that perished. You hear the voice of Galina, who is talking very forcefully and very authoritatively. What do you do?
There's a big part of Gav that wants to sprint forward at that, but she does stop herself and just approaches at a much more casual walk.
And as you kind of grow closer to the source of this talk, you see a number of people speaking, of which Galina is one. However, the thing that is most disconcerting to you is that you can now see these people for what they are, which are shadows. They are...
It's so freaky.
Yeah, it is. That's the worst thing, is there is this kind of like, you realize, illusory quality to each one of these people, including Galina. And what you realize is that, basically these people, whether as part of some sort of defense mechanism, whether, in Maurice the Spider Prince's attempt made, he essentially tried to, maybe in helping create these people for you, to give you an analog, to give you a comfort while you are in exile. However, it would seem that in Jakob's corruption, even they would not be left unscoured. So you are approaching this kind of group. You realize and see them for what they are. You're moving casually. Are you trying to make contact here? What are you doing?
I do think, it's inevitable. This is a small village. She's walking straight into it. She is heading towards Galina and this group that she's amassed.
Yeah. And again, this talk is more very kind of quiet and hushed, but there is also just like there's this very kind of urgent tone to it and timbre to it. And Galina's very observant. I think she probably was one. I don't remember if it was Masha who was your spotter, but either way.
I don't know if we ever talked about that, actually.
Yeah. I was going to say, we can have Galina be your spotter.
Sure.
At which point, just because of that observation, that feeling, that kind of habit of hers to keep her head on a swivel, she can't help but notice you, and then immediately runs forward to embrace you. Are you kind of like trying to back away? What are you trying to do?
No, I let it happen.
Yeah.
I think even knowing that this isn't quite real, Gav has always had this pragmatism where just because it's not real with capital R doesn't mean it's not real.
Exactly. Yeah. And you've kind of like remembered how Maurice has talked about how these people, they have their dreams of their own that are just as real. And that runs through your mind. And as she embraces you, it feels corporeal. It feels real. It feels like a beautiful truth. And she looks at you. I watched you die. What are you doing here, Tavarish?
Reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
And I think there's just this kind of like befuddlement by the other kind of people watching this interaction. And I think she's beginning to kind of pull you aside. What's so much has happened? There's just, I can't believe you're here. It's like you are a sign, a harbinger. Maybe you are the hope we need. How is this possible?
Tell me, what are you doing here? What is happening here? Where is the rest of our brigade?
The brigade is scattered. Many have been called back to assist with picking off the leftovers that didn't like the cold so much. But for now, it is just me here. We sat Shiva for Masha. We thought we sat Shiva for you as well.
Well, I am sorry to have ruined those festivities. But I am here for a time. There is a confidential mission that I must accomplish.
Confidential? On whose authority?
As high as it goes.
And she kind of narrows her eye and nods. Have you seen Nikolai recently? He seemed to disappear as well. I assumed he was just among the dead. We could not recover. Is he also on the highest authority? A mission?
Not quite. But he is well. I have seen him.
Then that is good to hear. I would offer you some manner of celebration, some manner of festivity, but we are in a bad way here.
What do you mean?
Well, there used to be 4 of us in the brigade who are posted here. We are to wait for reinforcements and to await official instructions to pick off and perform reconnaissance and patrol in the event that a stupid bunch of Reich stooges ended up in the wrong place at the right time. But when we got here, it felt too quiet, and when we spoke to the residents, apparently there is a scourge walking among them at the nights. It grabs them, and they are found strangled and killed the following day. They had taken to calling it a golem gone wrong. I did not believe it myself until Boris and Naum were found strangled as well. These were 2 of the best, and I am all that remains of this brigade.
Well, it is possible that what is happening here might be related to my own mission. I cannot be certain of this, but for now, perhaps I am the reinforcement you need.
Let us hope for this. The town council is here attempting to think of more drastic measures. I don't want to know what they have in mind, but it can't be any good. I think that more people will get hurt the more they try to take action against this thing. Whatever it is...
Post me tonight, and I will walk this village, and I will see for myself what this creature is.
Very well.
If it can be killed, well, I've yet to meet something that I can't kill.
All right. Well, I think that you're probably going to want a little bit of supper before you do this.
I wouldn't say no.
It might be the last meal we have together.
It might.
Well, let us get a spread. And I think the 2 of you kind of begin walking back into the heart of the village and begin kind of talking. And I think in turn also kind of catching up. You know, what is it that you kind of ask Galena about? What are you talking about as you kind of try to like learn more about what has been happening in Adadrov?
I ask how long it's been since she thought I was dead. I mean, she sat Shiva for me, so I already have a rough idea that it's been at least a couple weeks. And I'm asking after what happened to the others in that time frame? Why are you out here? We were supposed to be heading back to Moscow, and it's it feels odd to be having this conversation. It's like Gav is having it. She's interested in it, but she's also sort of keeping her talking so she can sort of give a periphery check of this village, because now she's just heard that there's something supernatural, which, she's now thinking is related to potentially something from the actuality has invaded this village.
Absolutely. And as you kind of like talk more about it, she is kind of like speaking that basically, was that I think that many were headed back to Moscow, but at the same time, with the winter coming, there was a real opportunity to cut supply lines behind the Nazis as they approached. And so skeleton crews, small squads were kind of engaging in guerrilla warfare. The other thing that you realize is, as she's kind of discussing, is they're really kind of like trying to make more kind of like smaller squads and brigades out of kind of people that have been out of brigades that have been hit very hard. So it's a little bit of a slapdash effort. It's basically, I think that it's just a lot of attrition very quickly and trying to make the best of a very unsuspecting, very ignorant enemy. So the thing that also is striking to you as you kind of get to the heart of the village is that you see a number of people here that are not shadows. Probably less than a handful, like 2, 3, 4 people that you realize, even in this state, that somehow your consciousness being, trapped here and being a part of this, kind of sub-reality, called additional exiles here. And, and so these people are also Vizsla. You are,
but I'm not sure if they know that yet.
Exactly.
So she's not going to approach them. Because if she's the one bringing that news, she's should not be allowed to break news to anybody, and isn't sure if it's their time to come yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will tell you this, like, the thing, I want to know what runs through your head the first time you see somebody who is not swirling and made of mist and kind of like this kind of like translucent shadow person that you see. What is the first thing that Gavriel thinks?
It reinforces that this wasn't fake. That this life, that this identity, that the place that she was raised, the person that she grew up into being, is not smoke and mist.
Yeah.
It is real.
Absolutely. And so what kind of repast do you and Galena have? And what does this kind of dinner look like? Is it just the two of you? Or are you kind of like also a part of like, is this more communal? What does this look like for you?
I imagine if things are pretty dire right now in this village, it's probably a small affair, but communal. With like, if one person's eating, everyone's probably eating before there's watches. There seems to be, if something's picking people off at night, there's a safety in numbers. And I think, it's small rural fare. It's like, maybe some rye bread, soup, stuff like that. But I mean, that's freaking comfort food, baby. I don't know the last time Gav's had that. I mean, she's been having weird stuff in like the Silver and Gold Sun for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And this feels incredibly comforting to have, even if she feels like now suddenly worlds apart from Galena, and the issues that used to like encompass her whole world now just feel smaller, or rather played out on a bigger scale than she could have really ever imagined. So it just feels like she's going through the motions.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way that feels very troubling to her.
Absolutely. And I think that I think that all of this is just so disconcerting when you can see that, like, these people, even in this kind of like, you know, harsh winter, in this kind of like aura of like, in this kind of like shadow of menace, they are still animated and very much, even like among those who are Shadow and those who are Visley, there is a real community. There is a sense of collaboration and mutual protection. And I think even more so, your mission becomes that much more important when you see among the Visley a small child who is also very clearly real. And she is just, I think, watching her parents speak animatedly and having an argument, both of whom are Visley as well, who probably don't realize this, but one of them said, "I'm telling you, Yosef, he had the right idea. Maybe we did something wrong here. Maybe there is a need to appease it, whatever this thing is. I mean, a golem of legend, they are going for wrongdoers, are they not?"
I think Gav, who's just sort of maybe her and Galena are probably eating in a corner, but she's able to hear everything, and just sort of speaks up now amongst the crowd. Whatever this is, it's not a golem.
How can you be so certain? You are just what, another soldier? What would you know?
A golem would not be attacking villagers here, not in this village. Not when there are real monsters stalking abroad. I don't care what any one of you would have done in face of that. Do you think a golem would be wasting its time?
And I think he furrows his brow, and as he does this, you see a little spark leap from his middle finger to the center of his brow that he is unaware of, until you just hear him just give out a like kind of like call, and nobody else seems to notice or have seen it. And his wife kind of grabs his hand very gently and just says, "I'm telling you, be careful, you're giving yourself another migraine." And he just says, "We are being punished for what I do not know. By something we cannot fight. Why would we
I will take stock of this village tonight and see if I can find this creature, appease it or kill it, but either way remove it for you. But whatever it is, I doubt it is punishment."
2 of your number have already died, and we have already seen the end of Yosef."
"They're not me. You have never met a soldier like me before."
Big words.
"I've died once, and here I am."
And Galena kind of like just leans in and says, "It's true." And you see the man just kind of sit down defeated, and the thing you notice is his daughter is watching you with keen eyes, and there's a little look of hope in them.
"Give me one night, and I will find your monster, banish it, reveal it, or kill it."
You drive a hard bargain. How could we refuse? And I think with this, I think all of them understand that they don't really have much of an option here. It's either, trust somebody's big words or die. Or maybe they die first. We'll see.
Well, I won't let that happen.
No. And so I think that the chatter dies down. Is there a blessing that is given to you or a prayer that is said for you before you set out on your watch?
I mean, sure, there's plenty of brachas that could be said. I don't know of one particular that's for a good safe watch, but I bet I could. Listen, we don't have time for me to get a rabbi on the phone, but I promise you that there is one.
Yeah.
Or can be made. Just for, safe watch or just a blessing over the village for a peaceful night. And yeah, Gav will obviously be present for that. And she's gonna check her gun and she's getting ready for a long night, but that's old hat.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Rabbi Schwartz says to you, gives you a prayer and then says, look, if you are not successful, give us a big shout, have a head start. Okay?
I promise that will not be necessary.
Well, all right. You say it, I believe it. And he gives you, he says the prayer, and it is you out on your watch. Now, it's just you. Have you assured Galena that, Galena, of course, has offered to act as your spotter once again and to assist you. What do you do when she offers?
Have her, yes, I'll say yes.
Okay.
That she may, and whatever you might see tonight, don't tell anyone. They will not believe you.
Well, if you're going to be all cryptic about it, I suppose I don't really have much of a choice, but okay.
No, you don't. But that should be, you should be used to that by now. I've given cryptica, more cryptic warnings than this one.
That is fair. And you also died, so yes, if anybody I should trust, it should be you.
Yes, the dead girl.
And she kind of, I think, laughs a little bit, but then looks at you and says, I missed you so long. There were many nights where it was just me. It's been a hard few months. And I wished that I had you to crack jokes with. I wish I had you help me take down the monsters we know.
I wish I could say that I was coming back.
Ah, yes.
But things will never be the way that they were, Galena. Not ever again. But whatever happens, whatever you might see me do, if I should walk out of this village by the time that the night is over, know that I am alive.
Missions on the highest authority, alive someplace.
It's the best that I can do.
You tell Nikolai, wherever he is, to get his head out of his ass. Do the thing we always expected you to do.
I did not come back from the dead to be match made again.
Oh, you are getting match made. And as you guys start off and kind of like have this little quibble, I need you to roll me a perception roll, please.
Awesome. For the sake of our dev scene, am I ignoring like my session, my previous session point usage? I'm starting at a fresh slate.
Yeah, I will say this: you can fresh slate, full pools, rather.
I will mark them differently so I keep what we have moving into our actual in chronological order session.
Excellent. So
I'll put a bene into that.
I will tell you this. Galena is very good at being very perceptive and observant. So I am going to give you a venture starting of 4 with her. She's basically acting as your spotter once again. That said,
Now it's 3.
that's 3. I was gonna say the Nemesis card is still in play.
Okay.
So you're -2. You got your, like, how are you spending anything? Are you gonna do any sortilege? What are you gonna do?
No, I'm just gonna do the Bene right now. So okay. I'll just subtract 2 from the roll.
Okay. So I need you to. You're starting with 3.
Yep.
I need you to get a 6.
I rolled a 6.
Okay. As you are walking along, there is this, I think as you're walking along, and you're having this kind of like quiet now, kind of discrepancy or this discussion, you notice something, which is you notice very heavy tracks in the snow, as the snow begins kind of coming down around you in the woods. And I'm going to change the music real quick. You notice that the tracks are very heavy. And they're pressed deeply into the frozen ground. There is a great deal of weight that's being put on this track. And the strangest thing is, the tracks are for one leg. 1 foot specifically. And the gait of it suggests that this is not somebody with a limp or someone who is an amputee. It seems to be having a normal rhythmic pace. What do you do?
Galina. She gestures to the tracks.
Yeah, and I think exactly. I think at this point, she looks down, Galina, and then looks back up at you, and she just says, and she looks, I think, a little bit closer at the track. Who would be wearing a sandal in the middle of the snow?
That's what you're concerned about? The sandal and not the 1 foot?
Shh. That's exactly it. Is one person with 1 foot. It's like they're hopping, but they're doing it with... But if they were hopping, they would be causing a lot more damage to the earth. They're very heavy. It's like the print of a bear.
Well, I think we're having this conversation while we're following it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever it is, you might actually have a monster on your hands. Congratulations.
This cannot... Like, even a golem, it's supposed to have 2 legs. How could it walk with 1 leg?
When we find it, why don't you ask it? Preferably before I shoot it.
And she just nods at you as if to say, obviously. And I think both of you kind of begin crouching and following the tracks. I would like you to go ahead and make me a stealth roll. Again, Galina's going to give you 4 to your roll.
Okay.
You are still trying to hit a 9 total.
Ooh!
Oh, actually, let me take a look. You are actually trying to hit a 7 total.
A 7. That feels somehow more doable. No, that's a 2.
Okay. As you are kind of like walking up, and I think following suit, you just, I think you are out of practice. This terrain, it's still so strange and it feels like unreal, and you hear something snap under your feet and you realize it's a fairly large branch. And Galina looks at you immediately. What are you doing? Did you step in shit on the way here? Come on. And she immediately moves to try to take cover.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Gav will follow.
Okay. So you realize that through the woods, there was this kind of clearing that the tracks were leading up to. And I need you, she's gonna kind of like pull you to one side and kind of like take cover. I need you to make me another perception roll.
Okay.
Again, you are trying to go for a 9 total.
I'll pump another Benny into that. Just let's hope that this one works.
Okay.
9 on the dice. So 10. No. Yes. Yeah, because of the Benny.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So, yeah. Wow. Okay. So as you are kind of like taking cover, there's something that you notice as you're like looking back from where the tracks were. And you notice that you're following the tracks and then they suddenly stopped. And that is when your ears perk up as you hear the slightest, most imperceptible sound of footsteps directly behind the two of you, specifically directly behind Galena. What do you do?
I immediately get my rifle to bear and turn it to the source of the footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. You turn, and I need to change the music once again. So, as you turn to face whatever it is behind you, you see, in lieu of this kind of like, you were I don't know, what is it you're expecting to see when you turn?
I heard footsteps.
Yeah.
I'm expecting people, almost like Gav wonders if there's some villagers that want to play tough guy and want to be on this mission with the two trained soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
she's expecting to be turning around chastising somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. As you kind of like turn, however, instead you see a ruined statue that is gesturing forward, moving to grasp Galena by the throat with massive stone hands. And when you take a look at this form, it is cracked in many places, and half of its head has been sheared away either by erosion or by time or by just like blunt damage or forced trauma. And yet it seems to be able to perceive and to move forward as if to grab your friend. I will say also, I actually need to turn this into a little bit more of an intense music here, is it's leaning forward. The thing you notice is its right leg is cut off just above the knee, and yet it still seems to be moving as though it is able to put weight on where that missing appendage is. You have a split second to act. What do you do?
I think first and foremost, she needs to get the statue just away from Galena. And does magic work here in the gray?
You may certainly try.
Question.
You may certainly find out.
Alas, these are long range spells, so they're not going to work. In which case, I'm going to not use magic and use yield fashion force and just give the statue a rough push.
Okay.
I think that as she's doing that, she's going to put herself bodily between Galena and the statue. Use the butt end of the rifle to shove it backwards before bringing it back to Bear and say, "Would it be presumptuous of me to call you Evanistis?"
I would like you. Are you going to attack it, or are you just putting yourself between it?
I'm pushing it away.
Okay, I need you to roll physicality. Yeah. And you are going to need to hit a 7.
Okay. Put a benefit to that. That'll be an 8.
Okay. You manage to get between you and Galena as this thing, I think, like its hands go over Galena's head as she ducks away, And with a force that is, I think, surprising Galena for your frame, you push this thing away several feet back, and it inclines its head to look at you as you say its name. It does not speak. It just kind of observes you before beginning to move forward and to turn its attention to you and to attempt to strangle you. I need you to once again roll to dodge.
Yeah. Let me double check. I don't think I have the thing dodge. No, I have resistance. Okay.
Okay.
Huh. I have something I haven't used before, but this might come in handy today.
Okay.
Can't use it for this roll, but we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Is 6.
Okay. 6 total?
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Yikes.
It grabs you, pulls you up, and begins strangling you. You take 7 points of damage.
Ay, ay, ay.
You may use 1 physicality to negate 3 points.
I will definitely do that. Yeah,
absolutely. And you just feel it's as it's picked you up and it's strangling you. You feel radiating off of it a hatred, a deep, spiteful anger and hatred. And as you're like pulled up to observe it, you realize that this is a very beautiful piece of art. It was sculpted in such a way that it's almost like the Nike or the Winged Victory. It is, or rather like that, or the Pietà. It's lovingly sculpted, as if by the hands of a master from the Renaissance. And yet there is just this utter hatred looking at you. And you realize it's also prefers you as a quarry now that it sees you, and its intention is on you. You take 4 points.
Yep. So that's 1 wound.
Yeah, and you cannot move until you break free from its grasp.
I think first she's just gonna get like a hand over the wrist that's trying to strangle her, and just be like, "The Silver Sun Warden sent me. There's more than one way that we can stop you."
It does not seem to care or to be listening. Its intention is to kill you.
Well, no choice now. I am going to, in a strangled voice, say, "Galena, cover your ears."
And Galena, looking at you, she had kind of like trained a gun on this thing and is, I think, kind of almost taken aback, shaking, and then drops it and covers her ears.
And I cast Demon Shriek.
All right. For our listeners and viewers at home, remind me what Demon Shriek does.
Demon Shriek. I summon an incorporeal demonic entity that physically assaults a nearby being, inflicting 1 anguish and forcing them to lose their next turn.
Good. I love it. Go ahead. It's what level is it?
3.
3. And +1 die?
+1 die.
Yeah. Roll it. You just need to hit 4 on one of those dice. If you use a Bene of sorcery, you can pump the level up by 1.
Oh, I think I'm going to keep this because I have a couple more things in my arsenal I'd like to be able to use. I will say that if it resists, that negative feedback is channeled into me, but I do have an opportunity to also resist it. So
okay, sounds good.
We might just be playing resistance ping pong. Let's find out.
All right.
Absolutely not. 5 and a 4.
Okay. Yeah, you let out this
5 is on the magic dice, by the way.
Oh, 5 is on the magic dice? I love it. You let out this piercing shriek of demonic origin, and it takes a half step back, lets you go as it begins kind of like stepping back as if in shock. And as you get this kind of like almost psychic flash off of it, as it remembers being loved and being admired, and being now an object of scorn and derision wherever it's originally from. You just get this sense of like that source of the hatred, and you realize that whatever has defiled it, its defilement is total.
It can't come back from it.
I mean, you could basically reduce it to rubble and maybe take some pieces back, unless you have some other means of purifying it.
I'm not the purifier of the group. I am the destroyer. And I think there's just like I was told to stop it. I wasn't quite sure what it was I was going to be stopping until now that I've seen it. So for my next trick, I will, now that it's lost a turn and it takes an anguish, and I will, you know what? I am just going to draw my gun for this. I don't need to go full berserker mode. I am wondering, however, I do have a thing that I've never used before. I can break objects.
Okay.
It's just I have a +1 to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to count that because I can add it to the attack we want to, or the damage, because it's an object, it's a statue.
I will absolutely allow you to add it to both your attack and to your damage.
Okay, cool. It won't be as much damage as I normally do because I am not doing a telestic strike with this. I'm not putting a sortilege into the gun because that might be overkill, because with all of that we're looking at like a 9 or a 10. So for this, with the weapon whisper and the lethal lore, do I need to roll first to see if I hit it, don't I?
Yeah, you still need to hit a 7 total. Yeah.
Well,
so you now have 6.
Yeah, that'll be an 8.
Okay. How much damage total are you doing it? I will tell you this.
It's gonna do 6 points of damage.
Okay, it's gonna do 6 points of damage. I'm gonna let your ability to break objects, it is going to negate one of its armor. You see, you shear off a piece of it, and it, I think, kind of like, for a moment is still kind of struggling with the demon shriek, but you realize that you've sheared off this piece of it, and it's not a significant amount. It feels like it hasn't done nearly as much damage as you were hoping it was going to do. You do know that whatever you did with the demon shriek seems to be still affecting it, as it begins kind of like attempting to recover but unable to act. But you can feel even more so now the hatred radiating off of it. What do? You now have another go because it's lost its turn.
Seeing that the gun is not really going to be effective now, she will to sort of give a sigh. Seeing that demon shriek actually did work in the gray, she wasn't quite sure if magic would physically work. She is going to use Eye of Amanus to get as tall as this statue, and hopefully try to like either grapple with it or force it away from the village for this fight. Okay.
Go ahead and remind us what Eye of Amanus.
Eye of Amanus. I mean, our longtime viewers should know I love this spell. I gaze into the abyss and take from it monstrous energies. I grow at least a foot taller and gain a beastly countenance, complete with claws and large teeth. I add 3 bene to my accuracy pool, and I can make a melee attack that inflicts damage equal to the level of the spell. It depletes on a 0 to 2. I just check after each combat encounter, so it's up. For now.
Cool.
It ends automatically when the sun next rises or sets, so it's up for good right now. And I will pump an additional sorcery into that. I will bump it up to a level 4 spell.
Nice.
Just to get the full Arabast effect, because when we use this now, she turns into her full Arabast form.
And absolutely, as you do this, there is something different about this. As you kind of cast the Eye of Amanus, you realize that a voice kind of speaks to you from the back of your head. And you hear Jakob's voice speaking now, just saying, "This thing, it is in a bastardization. You have to put it down." And not only that, you get the sense that he has more to say, but time is of the essence.
I'm going to attack it like freaking Godzilla, like we are having a kaiju battle now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to like full blown like try to tackle this thing to the ground before I start rending it apart with my claws.
I will tell you this. I did see you just cast 2 spells. I'm gonna turn 2 cards.
That's right.
Okay. So the first card was the cat, which was the companion of notions, cats, clocks, and wind.
Me.
Hey. Cleverness, dexterity. Yeah, so I think this one, it's just a companion card. It's a 6 that you rolled. Yeah, at this point, the PC avoids danger that otherwise would have harmed them. The PC finds a clever solution to the problem. I will say that
my clever solution was monster.
Monster meets monster. Yeah. I will tell you this, take a joy for that as you hear your uncle's voice encouraging you.
Okay.
The next one that I turned, however, was the Endless Woods, which is, it strengthens green magic and it weakens pale. It's mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone, meaning sound, nature, mysteries, the dark side of the forces of life, which I think is very much this. That's
perfect.
Yeah, this creature that you're facing. The woods and the wilderness.
I will say also, like, the facet of the spell is the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so take even a step into those dark woods and you'll never find your way back. Yeah, I think you realize that this thing has traveled so deep into the darkness, either of itself or even through kind of like the workings of whatever Vespertine agent or Dark Vislade did this, that you realize there's no hope for it. Go ahead and make your attack. It is beginning to recover.
Yeah, okay. I have to remember how much it is. Oh, yeah, we're just doing a melee attack. It's the level of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
It will take 4 points of damage if I hit it.
All right. I was gonna say make sure to add 1 to your attack for breaking objects.
1 to my attack. Okay, that'll make this a 6.
Okay, cool. So 6, you just need to roll a 1 on either of the dice and not get flux.
Okay.
Because I think you do add a die to your attacks.
I don't for this one. Not for Ivamonus.
Then just don't hit a 0. Don't hit a 0.
I didn't.
Okay.
I rolled a 6.
Oh, perfect. Sorry. Misheard you. Yeah, you, I think, cleave into this. Again, negating some of the armor. It is still, however, not like the physical. I will say this, actually, because you're getting magical damage in here, you are probably shearing off some of the armor. I'll go ahead and knock another armor piece off. You see, as you cleave through it, one of these hands goes to strangle you and you sever it off. The claws just like raking through. Galena says, I have no idea if this is going to help. And she is going to just start firing a gun at it. Probably just her sidearm. And she comes to a very quick realization as the bullets just kind of implant in the stone. It doesn't seem to be doing much. But I think that is when she looks at you. And see. Yeah.
I think that in the struggle, like there's just 2 almost raptor yellow eyes that like peek out in the darkness. And it's still Gav's voice, but it has a much more like avian like trill to it. And she just gasps out like, Galena, get out of here.
And you see her turn, and behind her is a figure that you did not recognize before, who grabs her by the throat and says, oh, it's too soon to leave. At which point he said it in Vislay language, and she looks at him and says, Yosef? And immediately stands stock still as he presses his thumb onto her collarbone. I will tell you this, with only 1 arm, the Avanestus of Ramos on the river is going to attempt to once again grapple you. It is going to be a level 5 dodge roll.
Okay. Can I put sortilege into that to give me an extra die?
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I'll do. I can't do sortilege and another bene, can I?
Only if you've got the secret for it.
I do not.
Okay.
Ooh, 2 7s.
Okay. Yeah, you see this thing like try to rake his arm back onto your neck. You quickly duck under it. I will also say remember to add I think add the level of your spell with Eye of Amanus for this stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's quite high.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you easily duck under it. You see this thing, this figure who, as you look at him, is a man who is dressed rather kind of like shabbily, or not shabbily, but in the like, he's dressed as though he came from the village. And he is kind of like still kind of like dirty, as if, you know, he hasn't showered or bathed in a while. But there's just this knowing look on his face, who just like, I think as he kind of like turns to meet your yellow, arabast eyes and, as if to say, what you gonna do?
Love that he would, you know, so subtly ask that, because what I'm going to do is lift up Evanestus and chuck it at him.
Okay. I love this. Go ahead. I think with that one arm sheared off, this is going to be a 6. So remember to add Eye of Amanus. I will say this.
The stupidest thing I've ever done.
I will say this. You're gonna have to. I'm actually gonna amp the challenge back up to a 7.
Yeah.
Because you are trying to avoid hitting Galena.
Okay. I'm gonna put a bene into this. What bene would it be? Physicality? Accuracy?
Yeah, this is definitely physicality. Oh god,
Okay.
This would be phicality and accuracy because you're trying to hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll let you. I mean, you tell me because I can only do one.
I'll say this. You've already got the spell up. Go ahead and just do. I think that covers the physicality. Give me accuracy because you're trying not to hit Galena.
I've got extra bene to accuracy right now, so I will definitely push another one into there. Obscene, I just rolled a 9. We're adding the spell to that, so that's 13. We're adding the accuracy, so 14.
Yeah, I think he was expecting that he'd be able to get like a dead man's switch off, kind of like, you know, basically like if you do this, your friend dies. But I think the rapidity with which, like the quickness, the alacrity with which you have done this, you chuck the statue at him, and I think he just looks, and immediately gets toppled by this thing. God, I don't know how much damage this is going to be. I'm going to say it's with a heavy weapon. You do 6 points of damage.
Sure.
As he is not expecting it.
Remember, kids, art is the most powerful weapon you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes literally. I will tell you this. Oh man. Okay. He is completely taken aback by this. He looks at you and he says, "What do you even care? They're not even real."
Oh no.
And the thing that kills me is you've done 6 points of damage to him. I will say you have done 3 points to the statue, but as he looks at you, you realize that he is casting a spell that looks very familiar. You have seen Kiri cast this spell.
Okay.
Yeah. And do you have any means of countering anything?
I can counterspell, yes.
Okay.
I think I can only do it up to, I would need to roll for it, but I can do it automatically for level 2 spell.
Okay.
But I can put sorcery into it to bump that up.
Okay. So put some sorcery into it, and then I will let you roll. You need to hit a 7 in order to counter the spell.
Okay. I'll put some sorcery into it then.
Okay.
I can only do 1.
Yeah. So you're at you're starting with 2.
3.
go ahead and give me that roll. You need to hit a 4. And I was going to say, this is magic, so you actually might want to use sortilege instead. Not sure. Yeah. Yeah, I should be the one.
Sortilege for the extra die. Which one do you want me to do?
Actually, you need 2 successes, so do.
Okay, so I will. I'll keep this dice that I just rolled.
Yeah.
And then I will put the sortilege in for the extra dice.
Yeah. Cool.
So I do have it. A 6 and a 7.
Okay.
The higher number is on the sortilege dice.
Yeah, excellent. You see as you realize that he is casting Witch Step to take him back to where he would normally, to a place that he would know. What does it look like as the spell fizzles?
I think in the same motion of her like hoisting up Evanestus and tossing it at him, I think it's all sort of happening at once where he's like going to try to cast it, and she just like raises like a hand, and it's sort of like in a spray of feathers. Like you just see sort of whatever was being charged is just now it's just nothing. It just like kind of she deflects it almost. And she's just stalking over to him now. It's like, I don't think that you want to be leaving this party just yet. We haven't had the chance to get to know each other. And I think as you stalk over, are you doing anything here? Because at this point, Evanestus is beginning to get up. My real enemy here is this Vespertine. And I'm going to take a clawed foot and just try to like bear down on his throat. Okay. While he's still in the ground. I will tell you this. Definitely, if you want to, you could also use your weight to bear down the statue on top of him. Oh, even better. Yeah. Because Evanestus is once again getting up. It's going to have this round. It's going to get up. You have probably this moment to jump on it and to bear down on it. I would like you to make me a physicality roll. Okay. Once again, add your Eye of Amanus spell level. You are trying to get a 7 total. Okay. We're adding 4 to the roll. Okay. 6. So yes. For math. Yeah. That would be a 10. Yeah. I think you just like slam your heels into the statue. And this guy groans. He's already taken 6 points of damage out of surprise. I'm going to say that he is, like, your intention is to render him unconscious, correct? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So you slam this statue into him. It knocks the wind out of him. He would be on death's door if you hadn't meant to kind of like keep him alive, but he quickly lapses into unconsciousness. Evanestus, however, you feel this thing attempting to rise and get up. I think it's going to probably reach back with its one arm to try to rake its stone fingers down one of your legs. You can either, I think this is either to roll to withstand it if you're staying still, or you can roll to try to dodge and kind of like do some sort of fancy acrobatics here. I will resist. Okay. Yeah, because that's easier for me. Yeah. So I do have something in that. Yeah. This is withstand. Resist is mental. It's withstand. Okay. Yeah. I always mix them up in my head. Yeah, I only have resistance. That's okay. Yeah. We'll do it anyway. Cool. Physicality, Bene, for this. I'm just going to use up all my physicality tonight. Yeah. Go for broke. Might as well. I'm going for broke. Not great. It was a 4. Okay, but did you add Eye of Amanus to it? Oh shit. Well, then it's an 8. Okay. So yeah, I think you bear down on this thing, and as it tries to rake its stone claw over your leg, you just kind of like, I think, kick it off and just bear down that much harder. You can try to execute a coup de grace here unless you have something else you want to do. I think she just sort of leans down over this statue and just goes, I'm sorry, my friend. I don't know what happened to you, but it should not have. And like so many things that I've seen be corrupted.
And you just...
I will make it quick.
You just see this thing. It's one eye that hasn't been sheared off by time and conflict and erosion, like almost as if to stare up at you, but it has not moved. There is no expression here. But there is still that feeling of malice. Give me...
I'm just going to try to rip the head off the statue.
Absolutely. I just need I think I need a 6 total. So again, with Eye of Manus. So
this one, I'll put a little sortilege on it. A little spice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have an 8 on the regular dice and a 6 on the magic dice. Both are going to pass if I'm adding the spell level to this.
Just... Yeah, describe what this looks like.
I mean, it's almost reluctant. It's kind of sad. It's like she's feeling that whatever this happened to this entity, it didn't really have a say in the matter. Mm-hmm. So she said she'd make it quick. So it's literally like she's snapping the neck off of a living being. So she does that, but with the sheer force of it and it not being a humanoid. Mm-hmm. Actual body, it just crumples and she's just left holding the head of the statue.
Yeah, and you just feel that malice, that awful negative energy drain out of it as there is nothing to animate it anymore. You have successfully kind of pulled off this head. Galena is nowhere to be seen. She has fled, you realize, as you kind of follow tracks in the snow.
Yeah, I want to hold on to the head just because I'd like to bring it back to the Silver Sun Warden at some point. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can rebuild this poor thing. But more importantly, I do have an unconscious new friend that I've made, and I'd like to grab him.
I will say this, as Avanestus crumbled, it basically just repinned him. So he is completely buried under this heavy rubble with Eye of Amanus. You can very easily kind of dig him out if you need to.
It's literally going to be, she slings like the head of the statue just under one arm, and with the other clawed hand, she's just going to like pull him roughly up like a sack of freaking potatoes and just like be holding on to him. And I think while it's still dark, she's going to do this away from the village, where she's just going to drag him off into the woods.
Absolutely. Yeah, let me actually change the music here to something a little bit more foreboding. Okay. You have pulled him off into the woods. And if you are trying to kind of like raise him like from unconsciousness, are you taking any precautions? What are you doing?
Well, I'm gonna tie him to a tree. I mean, we're dealing with, Vespertine and Visley. It's also, I don't have anything like magical to bind him with, so it's just gonna be mostly mundane and my own wits. But I do, since the combat encounter ended, I need to just roll a depletion check.
Yes. Go ahead.
And we're fine. I rolled a 3. 0 to 2 is the number that depletes it.
Love it.
So I'm still in my Arabast form as I sort of pin him. I'm just going to set the head of the statue down away from him, and just tie him up with regular old-fashioned rope and just sort of like slap him, but sort of scratch him because I don't really have human hands at the moment.
Yep.
Awake.
Ah!
So nice to have you back with us.
Who are you?
No. Who are you and what are you doing in this village? Or is the better question, what are you doing in the Grey?
Who cares about the Grey? I found this little pocket here, and I was just doing a few experiments. I wanted to see if these people would sacrifice their own to appease this little terror. I'm a little disappointed, but I figured we might at least get a few new recruits. I see there's actually a few Vizsla here. You look like already you should be one of ours.
I promise you that I am nothing like your little friends.
How did you break the control? Did you destroy the helmet somehow? Did it get damaged?
You think that you know what I am? You are asking the wrong questions.
So what is this then?
How did you get a hold of Avanestis?
Ugh. Creatures like that. Ugh. They're a dime a dozen, especially in the ruins of Satyrine. One of the finest works of art buried under rubble. All of the hatred of neglect supercharging it. Made it perfect.
And how many other Vespertine are here?
Hundreds. If you'd like, you can actually make me an interaction roll, because I don't know, are you trying to intimidate here? What are you trying to do?
Intimidate and also get information, if I can. Because if there's pockets of the Vespertine that have run to the gray, then our job got a lot bigger.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a give me an interaction roll. This is more intimidation, so add your Eye of Amanus here.
Okay. Great, because I don't have any Bene for that. Not a great roll, but because of the Eye of Amanus, it will be a 6.
Okay. You get the sense, and I think that doesn't really change his answer. He gets the sense that you are trying to root something out of him, and he resists. He just looks at you. Hundreds, don't you know? A dozen in this village alone.
You cannot... If the gray does not matter, then why are the Vespertine even here? What are you looking for?
Target practice. Experimentation. Whatever we want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Rogue Vizsla, maybe they join our cause. What does it matter to you?
What does it matter to me? You ask me that? You see what I am.
Your shadows. Erebast. Thaw. So you're one loose from the crowd. What does it matter? You'll be dealt with soon.
That's funny. Your shadows have tried to deal with me, and they failed. And your people, they tried to deal with mine in every iteration I have ever seen, and all of you fail. Is that all you're good for? Failure?
Who's to say we have failed? We own this place. You're just living...
And I've killed dozens and hundreds of you before I ever knew what you were. I will come for all of your allies, wherever they are, in every sun. You want the gift of the void so badly. You want endless nothingness. I will not give it to you.
The dark is coming, like it or not. You have no hope of stopping it, no prayer. Whatever god you serve, whatever warden, whatever god of the grey you think to speak to, they are not listening, they are not here, not even the demiurge is here. You have no hope.
Do not serve God. I never said that I served the light either. But if it takes darkness to fight yours, that I can do.
And once again, we have already won.
Not yet, I think. Even if only one person remains, you will have failed forever. And that's all we need. Your allies will be hunted. They will be eradicated. You will be dealt with. And when you are a distant memory, no one will even bother to remember your name.
I am but one drop of rain in the middle of a storm.
You cannot scare me. You are all alike. You think the world is your plaything. You think that there are lesser beings that you might use for whatever it is that you want.
The world is our plaything, and these people aren't real. What do you say?
I break his neck.
Okay.
But I do not kill him.
Okay.
This is important. He wants, like, the Vespertine want endless void. They want to control. I'm going to take away his ability to control anything about him, but I will leave him with his life.
Okay. You do that. And you leave him in the mists of the gray sun, locked in this kind of temporal pocket, this illusion within an illusion. Is this the end of your sojourn, or do you return to the village?
I do a better job of hiding my tracks. I am sort of leaving this man into the wilderness. I'm taking like away any like version of like creature comforts that he could have. Well, I think I'm there until dawn breaks, which will break my Eye of Amanus spell and revert me back to my human form. And just watching him. Good luck trying to control anything now. I'm looking forward to doing this to the rest of your friends. Do try to stay alive. Well, the best that you can.
The hatred that bores into you from his eyes dwarfs whatever you felt from Avanestus. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. She's gonna grab the head of Avanestus as she's heading out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as a parting shot, just the Arabast live and will outlive you all. And she's just gonna head out of the woods.
And the sun rises and your form shimmers once again. And you return back to your true self, or this version of yourself, not more representative of the Visley portion of your lineage. And you, following the pull and the tug of the phasic, the multiphasic compass, you are pulled back to the path that you originally trod down to enter the village. And as you are walking, you hear Jakob's voice in your head.
The way he spoke to you, he assumes that you are one of our people who somehow escaped captivity or enslavement. The work you need to do, you and your friends need to do, is fast. But I am here to help. And you have a rebellion to kindle.
Well, then we had better get started.
and an aperture in the air shimmers into being, and you see once again that all-encompassing white of the oblong chamber that will lead you back to the Hendasa Acclamation Center.
I think she looks past it and towards the village, knowing that Galena is still there, and there's no time to explain what happened and what's going on with her, and there is this deep moment of regret, just to add to the pile of regrets that Gav always carries with her.
True. But for this time being, you have made not illusions, not necessarily shadows, but these dreams of people. And the Visley that they comfort and protect, you have safeguarded them. You have given them an opportunity. Knowing that, I hope brings you some comfort as you walk through the aperture and it closes behind you. And we're going to end there. I am curious.
Yeah.
Joy, despair, character arcs.
This is an interesting one. I'm going to say despair, based on seeing a Vespertine actually infiltrate her own people. That's deeply fucked up for her. And I think that's a despair all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not being able to say goodbye to Galena also adds to that for sure.
Absolutely. I think that, yeah, it's definitely a bittersweet moment there.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm curious, does this, besides satisfying the needs of the Silver Sun Warden, did this satisfy any character arcs you have?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because part of my larger character arc right now specifically is to become close to Shia, Mott, Majwin, and the Arabast, understanding my true nature and my people.
Mm-hmm.
I think this sort of like parallels aside it, but I don't know if it quite got us there just yet, but it's certainly setting us up for more on her journey to understanding the nature of the Arabast and her place within them.
Absolutely. Go ahead and take 2 acumen for the entire scene.
Okay.
And I think that we will explore those character arcs more in the future. And now, shout outs and plugs. Marcy, what you got for us?
Oh boy, my usual thing. And now I have to think into the future. So this is very exciting, but not that far into the future. Well, anyway, I have been Marcy. I'll continue to be her. And this was a lot of fun. And I hope we get to do more of these with everyone else's characters, because they're rad as hell.
Oh, yeah.
For just general plugs for Manapod Studios, if you're not completely sick of me, I will be back here November. Oh God, I don't even know. Time is weird. Not this coming Monday, but next Monday, for the season finale of our first season of Streets of Gotham. So if you haven't watched all of those, they're all available on YouTube, and now's a great time to catch up and join us for the big finish. We're all very excited about it. We'll also be back again, not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, if my timing is correct. We'll be kickstarting another Flights of Fandom for the month of November, and we're doing X-Men, and it's going to be fucking awesome. So definitely join us for that. It's going to be a great time. As always, you can find a bunch of our past flights on YouTube. Feel free to binge them. A bunch are also still available right here on VOD. Like Zach, who DM'd an amazingly hilarious teenagery romp of us playing classic movie monster tropes in high school with Gravedale High. You can catch up on pretty much all of that. I think is still available to watch on Twitch if you're looking for something very fun. And check out our Discord for what's coming up. If you ever want to play with us, get in touch. And that's all I got.
Awesome. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet tonight. Shout out to the rest of the cast who couldn't join us, but is going to be doing their own scenes one by one pretty soon in the near future. Huge shout out to Marcy, who took time out of her week to do this.
This is fun.
Yeah. Oh, God, this was a lot of fun. And not only that, shout out to our friends of the stream, Angel Citadel and Counterparty,
Yay.
Jeff Stormer. All of you guys, all of them are people that you guys should be checking out. And then I think last but not least, shout out to everybody who's tuning in tonight. Be well, take care of yourself, take care of your friends, and remember, may the invisible sun shine on you all. Good night.